Hey everybody, coming at you with another exciting video, and it's exciting to me because today I'm going to be testing my my homemade reflective tarp and my new homemade reflective firewall together. And today's a good day for it, and I just finished it recently, and conditions ain't really perfect. I'm not really totally prepared, but I got to do it now because we just had 3 days of rain, and today no rain, high of like 46, wind, and then 10 days of rain starting tomorrow. And then I've got our annual shutdown. So today's the day, and I would like for it to be drier, I'd like for it to be colder, but nah, you take what you get. So I'm going to set this thing up, and the fact that it's windy is good because I'm going to see how the wind affects the fire, how it comes in. And there's a few things that I'm going to talk about that I have learned from the comments from the other video of the first firewall. So I don't know, I may wind up having to use a microphone. I really don't want to dig it out and mess with it, so I'm going to try my best. If the wind picks up like crazy, I will. But anyway, for now, I'm just going to try to talk loud. And there's a roaring stream behind me. I'm talking about roaring. You might can hear the water flowing from it. So I'm gonna set this. Let's take this stuff off, and I'm gonna set it down, and I'm gonna show you what we got. I didn't even have time to get a backpack together. I just threw what I thought I might need for this test in this pack right here. So I'm gonna set it there. And of course, I got me a canteen. Got to stay hydrated. I'll run over there real quick before we dig into this pack, and I'll show you just real quick what the water looks like. And that's just from 3 days of steady rain. We're fixing to have a whole bunch more rain. 10 days. There's another waterfall right up there. Well, tiny waterfall. Like I said, it's going to be rough pretty soon. And I've never seen, this is usually just a trickle over here. I've never seen water come out like that. But I just thought that'd be interesting that, you know, this is the creek that's usually like a stream. It's really flowing coming off the mountain. I just thought it'd be neat to show that. I don't know if you can hear me or not. You may can hear this in the background once I get to filming. Enough sightseeing. Let's aim this thing down here to where you can see what I've got in the bag. That way I won't have to fool around with messing around with getting this, explaining everything beforehand. Now I have a little bag here on top. This is the bag, people that see my other videos, there's like carabiners and bungee cords and clips and just various things that I use for setting up shelters. I don't know if I'm going to need it, but I have it. Alright, so let's look in here. And as always, I always have a silky saw. I have this in the side right here. Let's unzip this now. Take a look. And I have, okay, this is the do-it-yourself. This is my reflective tarp with it's the very flexible one, the one that's got the olive drab webbing. Okay, so let's set this to the side. That'll be the first thing I set up. Now there's several different ways of setting up that roof, and we'll see how here pretty soon. Now this right here is just simply a bag full of paracord. It's just a handy little bag with an assortment of all different lengths of paracord. Don't know what I'll need, so I carried it. Now once I get this thing set up in the future, I'll understand more of exactly what I need to bring. Oh, this is a little bag that I have that's got a belt on it I carry around for gathering up tinder. I'll put tinder in it here in a little while. I have a variety of my bungee cords. Because the wind is blowing so hard, I'm going to try to bungee cord the tarp roof up to keep from ripping it. And these are my extra long bungee cords. I don't know if I'm going to need them or not. These are the ones that I made up. I ordered the bungee cord material and I added the ends. Olive drab, no doubt. Like I say, if you can't be cool, you got to at least look cool. And then this is a reflective blanket that I'm going to sit on. I didn't grab one of the olive drab ones. This just, like I said, I wasn't real paired. I grabbed the one that was there. And then this is the reflective wall, 12 feet. I'm gonna set it up after I set the roof up. All right. And then here's some stakes that I've got. I'm gonna pile everything up right here at the base of where the camera is. That way I won't lose anything. Because this is I'm on a hill. It's kind of dry right here. So, all right. What I'm gonna do now, the first thing that I'm gonna do is I'm gonna clear out some of these branches right over here, and then I'm gonna pull the tarp out, and then I'm gonna stretch the tarp from that tree to that tree. All right. So let's get on with it. Oh, and I brought my machete, as always. It's a Condor Pack Go Lock, for those of you that ask, because everybody always asks, what machete is that? I had to wear brown because of the desert camo. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take my a bungee cord and put it on this tree. Now the beauty of the bungee cord is I'm not real sure what the height of it's going to be. So and there's several different ways of setting this up. You could set it up as a pitch type roof, but I'm going to kind of set it up on like a lean-to Wheeling Baker style, because what I want to do is, instead of having it up like this, like I normally would a shelter, I'm going to have it up like this because I'm going to try to draw the smoke out of the shelter this time. So now what I got to do is unwrap this thing. Now on the ends, the ridge lines is only 2 inch. I mean the edges of the tarp, where I guess what you call the guy lines will be. And the ridge lines are 4 inch. So that way I'll know where which is which. Of course, once I get it unraveled, it'll be obvious. All right, so let's take this, put it right here, and then what I'll do, I'll just snap this to this. Alright, now what I'm going to do next is I'm going to stretch it that way and see how far it goes. And that way I can move it. I can move this thing up and down as I see fit. Alright, so the next thing I'm going to do, I got to get the camera good and far away, because I'm not real sure about, even with all the overcast and the cloudiness, the glare is terrible on this thing. Someday I'm going to cure that. Now what I'm going to do is I got one end bungee cord to a tree, and I'm going to take one of my long bungee cords and bungee cord it to this other tree. That way I can scoot it up and down to get it to where I need it to be. I can't remember how long these are. They may be 25 feet. You know something? I think I'm going to use these two, and I'm going to save that one for the top part of it, the ridge line part of it. I mean the edge of it. So now the beauty of this is with a variety of bungee cords and being able to double loop them, I can figure out how tight it needs to be. So let's see these over here. Now see, it's got a little bit of a droop in it, but I can double up one of these bungee cords to make it pull even tighter. And I have no fear of ripping it because I'm not tied off. If you remember when I built it, I'm not pulling on the tarp, I'm pulling on the olive drab webbing line that goes through it. So let's see. Let's tighten this up here. And then I'm going to feed this through. Give it a pull. And then flip this on here. There you go. And see, I just doubled it up. I got more tension. So what I can do now is I can figure out how I'm going to stake it down. And that height I've got may be okay right there. I got to cut this little tree down right here. It's in the way. It actually looks dead. I may can just kick it over. Now when you thin little trees out like that, it's no big deal because when thinning out like that it's removing things that steal nutrients for the bigger trees. Alright, let's see. Let's take this. So what I'm doing now is I'm going to stake this thing out with my stakes, and then I can lift up on the ridge lines as I see fit. So I stab one in one direction, and then I stab one in another direction. Here's another view of it right here, and people ask me about these stakes. If you use regular tent stakes, you have to beat them in. With something like this, you stab them in, and they wonder if they come out. And what I do is I go in one direction with one, and then I go into another direction with another one. So instead of going straight in, they're like that. And that's what holds them in. See, once I get all this staked in, then what I'll do is I'll lift up the ridge line to make it more even. Ooh, I feel some cold air coming. This is where it comes in handy to have this extra long bungee cord. So what I'm going to do, it also helps to have these little tiny ends. Pretty curled up because I haven't used it in a while. It's all tangled up. I can't believe this. I should have untangled it before I cut the camera on. Alright, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to feed this thing through. I'm going to feed it through my little loops here because it's plenty small enough to. Alright. Just like that. I'm going to feed it through here, all the way through, and then go and attach to a tree down there. Got it fed through, and what I'm going to do now is I'm going to wrap it around this tree here, then put a hook, and then push and pull. Alright, nothing to it. And then I'll pull the other end up and get it Alright, so it's all wadded up right there, but it's attached to one tree, so I'm going to pull it up and tight and come over and try to attach to this tree. Alright, so what I'm going to do now, that one tree seems to be in the way. So I'm not real sure about that. I guess I'm just going to have to lift that cord up real super high and stretch it real tight. I know what I can do. That tarp is going beside the tree, so I'll undo the bungee cord and go on the other side of it with a bungee cord. Now I'm going to undo this other bungee cord and carry it over to another tree to stretch it out even further. That or just use an extra bungee. That's what's great about having all this kind of stuff here. That's good. Put it in the middle. That'll work. As you can see, I've got the bungee cord going across the top. Now the tarp is totally bunched up by that tree. That tree right there. It needs to be pulled that way. That tree's in the way. But here's the thing. I'm just testing this, so I'm not going to cut that tree down. If I was actually going to spend the night, I might consider cutting that tree down, but I'm not going to do it since it's just a test. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to clear some leaves out. And then I'm going to set up the firewall. Alright. Even though these leaves are all soaking wet, I'm still going to clear them out of the way because the fire may dry them out. Oh. This ground is soaked. It is wet. So I hope I can get a good fire going. For the sakes of testing though, I'm going to have a small fire to see what the difference is. I'm not going to have a giant roaring fire. Now I don't know if you can see this or not, but what I've done is I've thrown a piece of paracord over a high up branch. And because this tree is in the way, I'm not getting the lift that I want. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to tie this paracord here. See, it keeps pulling down. So I'm going to tie this paracord right here. All right. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to pull it up. See, this is all wadded up here around this tree. So I'm going to pull it up so that I can have my height that I want so that the smoke will go up and out. There you go. That'll work. And that's got the height that I want to it, and that way also it won't be too down low so that I don't want to melt it first try. This thing was so much trouble, and I'd like it to last. And I may put a piece of paracord on that end and pull that in that way too. I got it cleared out. Oh, another good thing about having this tree right here is it's just one less stake that I got to put my firewall up. I'll get that out in a minute and tie it up. So now I've got my tarp set up exactly how I want it. Now, if I picked a better location with probably much less trees, but I don't know, I just chose this location. So I wouldn't have to manipulate so much, but if you carry paracord and extra bungees, you know, this thing right here, it works pretty well. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna try to start setting up this firewall, and I'm gonna start with that big tree right there because it's already there. This thing's probably gonna get all muddy here, but nah. I didn't build this to win a beauty contest. I built it to use it. Now last go around everybody said you should have put tiles at the bottom. Well, I did, but I was just too lazy to time. So I'm going to go ahead and time on this one. I actually need more paracord, more length on that one on the bottom there. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to pull this around. And I'm going to set up a stake. Turn this around. I'm going to set up a stake right here to tie to this end right here. So I'm going to go chop a few stakes, stab them in the ground, start tying things off. Maybe time to get rid of the gloves. Hard to tie these knots with them. One of the things that was suggested from a friend of mine that knows a lot about math was talking about the reflective qualities of heat waves and bouncing back and being directed. And he said like a parabolic type shape would help. And I got to thinking, well, the tarp square, so if I set the firewall up square, there won't be a place for the smoke to evacuate to. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do just a little bit of a parabola, so that it'll give it a good place to where instead of the roof meeting it, the center will be back a little bit. And on top of that, if you completely enclose something, air can't get into the bottom of the fire and smoke will just wander. That was another comment from the other video. So I'm going to lift up a spot underneath it opposite the fire, because I don't want cold air coming in around me, but I want cold air coming in under feeding the fire so that it'll allow the draw up and out. Make sense? That's how it was explained to me in the comments, so that's what I'm going to do. Man, that is much easier with gloves on. Alright, so let's see. And that wasn't quite enough. Let's go over a little bit. There you go. Still ain't enough. This will be over the angle. There we go. That's better. That way I can put some tension on it while I tie it off. There you go. Now it's starting to look like something. "12 feet still ain't enough," which shocks me, but I don't know. I got plenty of this material. What I may do is I may make a couple of 4 or 6 foot sections so that I can put around it. But the idea too is not only just testing the reflector now, but testing the tarp part of it to seeing if the roof will bounce the heat back down on me from the fire, or the wall back there will bounce the heat forward. Alright, so I'm going to tie off the bottoms here, and then I'll try to gather up some stuff for a fire. I think the temperature's still not rising. 40 degrees. Yeah. Alright, let's go inside and start the fire. So as I was out gathering up small branches and things, I also used this neat little pouch that I found at Goodwill. Normally I will make a little pouch, but this thing was only $2, so I bought it. The little tag on it says "Field Line, Made in USA." And it's just a little olive drab pouch with webbing going through it, and you can't beat it for $2. So what I do is I go to the bases of some of these trees that I've been gathering up pine straw. So I suggest everyone carries some sort of a tinder bag. Not to mention when you're hiking on the way to your destination, anything you see dry, any kind of bark or pine straw or just whatever, pick it up and put it in your bag. That way once you get to your campsite, you'll have plenty of dry stuff to work with. Always pays to get everything ready ahead of time, or at least as best as you can. Alright, some of this. Alright, I'm going to put some underneath here. Hope flames don't go up too high and melt my tarp. That'd be horrible. That would spell disaster. I got some good dry wood split. I brought it with me just as an insurance. But that'll be good, because if this bursts up in flames too high up, then I'll just throw some wood on top of it. What was that? Oh no, I dropped a wet leaf on it. That ain't good. One of the good things about the South is not just the fat wood from pine trees, but the pine straw. Now it's good having this stuff because I'm seeing what the smoke looks like, which right now is pretty bad. Yeah, it's real bad. I may just have to let this fire. Now the flames didn't burst up too bad. Alright, smoke's getting a little bit better, because I think the pine straw is starting to burn away. Now hopefully this fire will collapse amongst itself. Now I think what I'm going to do, I'm going to run outside. Let's back up a little bit so that we can watch the smoke. Okay, now I'm starting to see something here. Let's look at what we're seeing here. Now that is what I'm wanting to see. Smoke evacuation. Now this opening right here is too big for me to bother with doing that other thing. I better go blow on that fire. Now see, that's why I put the pine straw under it. You can see that because I got plenty of pine straw that I could blow it to get those twigs going. Now I'm starting to see what the tarp's doing, and I think that's working pretty good. Alright, I'm going to keep blowing that fire and get it going till the smoke's gone and we just have a fire. And then I'll cut you back on and we're going to take a look at it. We're going to start warming the shelter. Fire's finally starting to take off. And I hate to say it, but I've got such a huge opening right here that once again I'm probably going to have to take that emergency blanket and tie it from end to end, just like I did last time. I hate to do that, but I honestly think there's just too much wind blowing in. Which just goes to prove 12 feet is really not enough, and I'm going to have to bring both of my tarp reflectors. The other one's 11 feet, and I guarantee you it'll work. But I guess the main thing is I just wanted to see how this worked with the roof, because I didn't have a roof last time. So, let's see. Yeah, that fire's going good now. And who knows, I may just have to bring a reflector every time. I mean, a couple extra tarp blankets every time. Well, no, not really, because I've got that other thing. I want to have to, but I'm going to wind up having to put this tarp up over here on the side, because I want to totally block the wind. Let's see here a minute. Alright, it's just a touch below 40 degrees outside. 40 degrees Fahrenheit. Yeah, it's 40. Alright. I'm going to run in here and see what this one is over here hanging on a tree. $80 Fahrenheit, 40 degree difference. Let's try to get it up to 90 with this thing. I'm gonna stretch this thing across. Let's see. Where's that other cord at? There it is. I hate that I brought the red one. I can't believe there's already a 40 degree difference in it. Well, that's amazing. I love it. Love it, love it, love it. Pull this across. I'm just going to kind of take a walk around and hold the camera up and just try to aim it around. I don't know if you're getting that or not. Just trying to get some footage of it. Walk around behind this tree. It'd be nice if I'd have brought my steady cam. There's vines grabbing a hold of everything. Let me aim this down here a little bit, where I've got a little bit more control. Don't want to make everybody vomit. Let's see. Ease this up. Inside wall there. Hitting the tree again, inside wall there. Alright, so what we're looking at is this is the opening right here. Okay? Let's go. Set this up right here. I'm just going to set it up in the opening. Professional camera. I'm trying to get, this is so hard to do, to get a good shot of the inside. May have to take the camera inside to get a good shot of it. Now there's the tarp I added, okay? Didn't really want to do it, but I did. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and do that little trick, because I see smoke coming to the back of the shelter. So I'm going to lift up a place and see if it'll draw air in right there. Alright, I got the tripod sitting on the ground. Now I'm going to try to make an overview right here of everything. There's the roof. Now check the roof, and the roof's not getting too hot, thankfully. But the way it's flopping is you can see the hot air being captured by it. There's the back wall. Take an overview here. Now see, that fire is not big at all. It is not a large fire, but I feel the heat from here. This is the opening and I can feel the heat. So let's see what that thermometer right there says. You can see how far away it is from the fire. I didn't have a way of putting one on the other one. So let's see what it says. It's about 4 feet away from the fire. 80 degrees. (80 degrees Fahrenheit). I think I'm going to put that other one against the back wall and see what it does. Alright, so here's another test. This is one of the tests that I did on the other shelter, where I could put my hand in. Well, your bare hand is very sensitive. And you can put your hand in, and when I raised it up above, it got kind of cold. So now what I'm doing is I'm putting my hand in here, and every bit of this air is super, super, super warm. Every bit of it. All of it. Every bit of it's warm. Now when I get up in here, about right here, it's warm to about here. It ain't really that warm here, but it's not cold. Now if I come out here, there's a big, big, big difference. Now as I put my hand in here, there's an incredible amount of warmth. Oh man! There's a hot spot right here. Yeah, everywhere you reach inside it is hot. Everywhere. The air is hot. It's radiating the waves towards it. Now I got another thermometer that's set up on the back wall. And what that's for is, this one over here on the front was kind of picking up what the wall temperature was. But the one on the back I want to read because that's where I'll actually be laying. And I want to know how warm the back part of it is. Alright, so let's go back here and take a look at that one on the back wall. I had to set this other one on the ground over here. Almost 90! Wow! Look at that. It's probably going to cool off when it hits the air. Almost 90 degrees. Alright! God, it's like an oven in here. Whew. And cold out here. Let me go get that other temperature gauge off that tree. It's still reading 40. I can't see. Can you see it? Still reading 40 degrees. Yeah, 40. Alright, that's fantastic. 50-degree difference. You absolutely, you can't ask for any better than that. Now the thing is when it gets down into the 20s and the 10s, I bet there won't be a 50-degree difference. The problem is we got 10 days of rain and then I have a lot more time that I have to work. So, I don't know. But for a first time test, this thing is done just beautifully. And it wasn't too bad to set up. I don't know if you can see the roof or not. I think the smoke evacuation did okay. Not much of a fire, is it? Got ashes coming now. Alright, my final thoughts on this thing is, I believe what I'm going to do is, the way the roof is set up, I like it. But there may be a point in time to where I'm going to have to set it up like this. And when that happens, I'm going to lose this full 8 feet behind me. Alright, because the lean-to itself, that 8 feet, I got the roof up here and then I got the 8 feet here. Well, if I ever set it up like that, I'm going to lose that 8 feet. And I'm already about 5 feet short now. So I've done decided I'm going to build another 12-foot firewall. I'm going to have 2 of them. That way I'll have a full 24 feet. That way if I want to have a bigger roof and there'll be more room in it. And I'll just have to experiment with it later on and set it up and see how it does. But I've got the material. I got a massive amount of material. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to build it. And later on, I don't know, it'll probably be next year because all of March is going to be gone. And then April, it's really going to get warm. So, but today was my only shot. This morning, because it's the high today is supposed to be 49, I think, and then later when it starts raining, it's going to get up in the 50s and 60s. I can still feel the heat from here, and I'm a long ways from the fire. I mean, and that's not a big fire. It is a tiny fire. The whole area is just, it's glowing with radiation. I mean, it is so hot over here. Everywhere I go, it's hot. It's great. I love it. The whole place here, all this air is warm. Now, the smoke is still not evacuating. See, it's making my eyes water right here. It's bothering me on this side, but if I was back over in that corner where I'd be sleeping, it's not bothering me too bad. Matter of fact, let's move over that way. Let's move right here. And I'm going to sit here for a minute. Oh, now it ain't bad over here. It's where I was at over there. It's because that smoke is going up and trailing across the roof. It ain't bad here. It ain't bad at all. Alright, I hope you had fun. I certainly had fun. This is very successful, and it's very, very, very... I'm sweating. I shouldn't even be in here with all this on. I should take it off, but I gotta clear all this out and go because I gotta go to work. But today was the day. I'm very, very, very happy with it. I hope you had fun. Hope you learned a few things. I hope you'll experiment with this stuff. This is fantastic. That over there, I definitely have a link for the firewall material. And I think I found a link for this stuff, the thinner stuff. That's too thick to fold up, but this stuff here will just wad up into a ball. But it's stronger than a regular Mylar blanket. So, alrighty. Once again, hope you had fun. Hope you learned something. And I shall see you in the next one.